Whatever it Timmers here. Now, I'm not really like a huge big reality guy. Like, I rarely watch Survivor. I'm not really much of an Amazing Race guy. American Ninja Warrior was cool and everything. But one of my favorite reality shows of the early 2000s was Fear Factor. I adore Fear Factor. Some of the stuff I'll probably never do, like eating worms and that. Yeah, I could never do none of that stuff. I mean, of course, Fear Factor sort of went off the rail at the end because they like had to. Because I remember a couple of guests had to drink a little something from let's just say a little something from Dunkies. That sort of went off the rail for most people. But they did revive Fear Factor on MTV with Ludacris, which I love Ludacris, but I never really thought he was great. Like that really wasn't all that great to be honest. I mean, I know people always talk smack about Joe Rogan now and that because of podcasts and blah blah blah. Take that aside, I loved it when Joe Rogan hosted Fear Factor. I mean, he was probably one of my favorite hosts of a reality show, in my opinion. Well, looks like Fear Factor is now looking to have a comeback here. This comes from Variety saying that Fear Factor is coming back with a brand new reboot. Annabelle Shine North America announced the return of the IP with a ESNA twist. Variety spoke to CEO Sharon Levy about the path forward for the fan favorite reality competition series. It seems likely they're big fans of the NBC favorite. Fans will remember that Joe Rogan was the host of Fear Factor from 2001 to 2006, and he also technically they were probably come back like in early 2010s, but it was revived with a short-lived one at MTV with Ludacris in 2017. Saying they're now trying it again. Saying I'm a huge horror fan, Levy says, and that might guide their thinking about what to do to make Fear Factor concept fresher for new viewers. When it comes to bringing back Y2K favorites, ESNA has been very busy. They're envisioning a Wipeout reboot along with a new take on Deal or No Deal. But Levy says there's a really appealing hook for Fear Factor. They're using what we are in society and how crippled people are by fear. Um, Word that a little better, but anyway. And how important is it to overcome that as a backbone? The executive argues, saying we are looking at it completely differently than it has ever been before. When you have a category like Fear Factor, which is a social experiment with real stakes, the potential of the idea excites me. Now, while they could have just redone Fear Factor as it was, like in the early 2000s, and probably collected their profit, the company is theming bigger far on their deal or no deal remuneration. They look toward an island concept for inspiration, like Fantasy Island and other long dormant TV properties, to resurrect an early out favorite. So yeah, I mean, now of course, Fear Factor was a pretty fun reality show in the early 2000s. I mean, I don't know if like some of that stuff could really work today. I mean, can you imagine them trying to do the donkey thing today in today's society? Yeah, that probably won't work well today. Um, I will love. I know it won't probably happen, but I would love for Joe Rogan to come back to host. I mean, I know he's a little problematic nowadays here, but man, when Joe Rogan hosted Fear Factor from like the early 2000s and on, I always thought he crushed it. I always love how like very hard he's always on these contestants. I mean, he doesn't care. So if Joe Rogan comes back, sign me up right there. Hopefully they'll get some. Maybe they'll get someone better. Who knows? Um, but yeah, I hope if they bring Fear Factor back, they go ahead and like do what made Fear Factor great. Like have people eat crazy stuff. Whether it be like worms, whether like they're a little interesting piece that they had one time. Um, Boy, it's been a while since I've seen Fear Factor. I'm trying to remember some of the other gross out stuff. I mean, that's why I always love more Fear Factor. Like the physical competitions was cool and everything, but every time I watch Fear Factor, I always watch it for the gross out stuff. You know, it's disgusting, but it shows that people just do anything for money, right? So yeah, this is gonna be really cool. I mean, no word on where it's gonna end up on. Maybe it could end up on Netflix. Maybe Peacock, NBC. Who knows? Let me let you guys. What are your thoughts on Fear Factor getting rebooted? Were you ever a fan of Fear Factor? Are you even interested in seeing a Fear Factor reboot? Maybe with Joe Rogan coming back. Would you be down to see someone else to host? And bonus question: what were some of your favorite moments of Fear Factor back in the days? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon signing out.